We're joined next by Jen Coppinger and Jessie Weaver, two fantastic people in their own right, and here today representing the Abbey Theatre, which, as people here will be very aware, has moved from having a literary department into a new work department, and Jen and Jessie are working very directly in that area in the Abbey. So we're delighted they're here today to share some of their thoughts with us. So thanks very much, guys.
Hi everyone, thanks very much to Fishamble for organising such a great day. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Jen Coppinger and I'm the head of producing and new work development of the Abbey Theatre, and this is the Sonny to my share here.
Hi, and I'm Jessie Weaver. I'm the new work associate in the new work department. Will I just kick off and talk about? Okay, just kind of give you a very, very quick background, kind of where the new work department came from. It kind of grew out of the former literary department, and while it still maintains kind of the functionality of the literary department, we're also trying to expand the ways in which we engage with artists and writers, and how we develop and produce new work. So just to kind of give you a sense of what we do. We read and respond to unsolicited scripts, so I'll talk about that in a little bit. We consider ideas and idea proposals for development and production. We provide development support to artists and companies. We commission new plays by playwrights, and we produce new work and new writing through a number of different contexts. So I'll hand it over to you, Jen.
Great. So the department at present is made up of 6 people. There is my colleague Sarah Lynch, who's the other producer of the Abbey, and myself, working in association with Katrina McLaughlin, who's our associate director. Katrina would work a lot with workshopping new plays, feeding back on drafts with writers, and is also our kind of resident Irish language speaker as well. So it's really great to have someone in-house that is expert in that. We will soon be appointing a dramaturg. If anyone is very interested in joining our team, the application is still open until the end of this month. We will be interviewing people mid-June and hope to appoint someone in early July. We work with Jessie and with Paddy Joe, who are the backbone of our administration. They would be the front line in terms of speaking with all of the unsolicited script writers, and also with the readers panel, which is made up of 12 people, and Jessie will go into a little bit more detail about that. I suppose examples of new writing that we have been working on in the last year are quite varied, and what we're trying to do with the new work department and the change that's happened within the Abbey in the last year is so the work, we're responding to the work as opposed to expecting the work to fit into, I suppose, a square box sometimes. So the examples are Porcelain by Margaret Perry, that was on in the Peacock in February, and that is a really interesting journey in that it came through the unsolicited scripts, came across our desks in the summer of last year and was premiered in February, so it was a very a quick process for Margaret. Come On Home by Philip McMahon will be premiered this July, and that is a commission that was outstanding from the previous director of the Abbey, and has been with us for a few years. So that will be directed by Rachel O'Riordan and opens on the 17th of July. Buicha by Dark Macanumera, who's a really prolific Irish language drama maker in film, TV and theatre, will be premiered on Tyviark this July as part of the Galway International Arts Festival. We're working in association with Dark. This was an Abbey commission that we're really thrilled to work on, in that I think it's going to be a very powerful piece of theatre, really exciting to see some contemporary Irish work. It's about fracking. It's going to be on in week 1 of the Arts Festival. Not a Funny Word finished a run last night. That's been part of a programme called What's Happening Now that we did in about March of 2017. And this was a piece by Tara Flynn about having to travel. It's taken place in the Peacock in 2017. Subsequently, it went to Dublin, Galway, has gone around the country, and been very important political work. Frankenstein, which I always find very difficult to pronounce, by Michael West, will be coming to the Peacock this summer, and that is a production in association with Theatre Lovett. Rapmines Road is a show that we're doing, a co-production by Deirdre Kinahan with Fishamble. And The Patient Gloria is a piece by Gina Moxley. So as you can see, there's quite a variety of approaches that we're trying to do within the New Work department.
Great, and I suppose I'll talk about one of the kind of blanks of how we engage with New Work, and kind of one of the first ports of call is our unsolicited scripts. The Abbey has always accepted unsolicited scripts, and we've tried our very best to make it a point to respond to writers with feedback. Just to give you kind of a snapshot of what happens in the unsolicited script process. It's usually the first port of call for writers and for us, for writers to introduce their work to us and their voice to us. It is extremely rare for an unsolicited script to reach development or production. But what we hope is that that a writer submitting an unsolicited script to us will give us a chance to maybe start a conversation with them. So any writer who's resident in Ireland or is an Irish writer currently living overseas can submit work unsolicited to the theatre. Last year, the Abbey received 350 unsolicited scripts, and this is up on previous years, and hopefully it'll keep going up and up and up. The gender breakdown at the moment is 37% female to 63% male writers. And that is held steady, so we need to think of ways to reach out to female writers to get them to send more work to us. It's the Abbey's policy to read, report, and respond to every unsolicited script that's sent into the theatre from any Irish writer. And in order to do this, we have a panel of 12, at the moment, 12 readers who are based all over Ireland. So we have readers in Galway, Cork, Dublin, and Belfast, and they come from a range of different practical backgrounds, from directing to writing to performing, and they also various age ranges, from college age all the way up to established artists. So we have a kind of a range of perspectives on which to view new work. The reading and reporting and responding process on average takes about 6 months, so it is kind of a lengthy turnaround, but the volume of work and kind of the size of our department unfortunately makes that kind of an administrative reality. Writers will receive a reader response of approximately 500 words of feedback on their script, and hopefully that they can take that on board if they wanted to develop the script a little further. So I'll hand it back over to Jen to talk about ideas.
So in March of 2017, we opened a formal avenue for pitches and proposals for development or production. And this is an opportunity for people to submit an idea to the Abbey, and it may not be necessarily a play, for lack of better phraseology. We're trying to provide a channel really for anyone regardless of background or discipline. So if you're a lighting designer and you have a really great idea, we would be encouraging you to submit an idea, as well as if you are a playwright. We ask 3 questions. One is, what is it you want to make? One is, why do you want to make it happen? And the other is, why do you want to make it right now? And this idea can be accompanied by video or audio, or if we're not very familiar with your work, maybe some examples of previous work. And it's primarily looking for new work that can be developed and staged, and we've considered work that's already been produced as well. We're really trying to be as open as possible. What you'll probably find quite interesting is that the gender breakdown for these idea proposals is a little bit more balanced, 52% being male and 48% being female. So far since March of last year and April of this year, we've had 180 proposals, and we're hoping we're in discussions with in and around a dozen artists about work that we think we will be able to help with. It's also a great way of us getting to know artists. So whilst we may not be able to proceed with every idea, of course, it's really great to kind of know what people are interested in. And we are going to remain to do this, and we will be looking at making decisions on a quarterly basis. So the next meeting that we will be having as a team and around the submissions will be in August of this year.
Great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about commissions and specifically commissions for playwrights. At the moment, we have 14 writers who are under commission, and those that spanned kind of both directorships. So the previous directorship under Fiach McAneil and the current directorship under Graham McLaren and Neil Murray. The gender breakdown for that is 43% women and 57% men. And we usually the pool of commissions is usually where we program new writing from. So it's kind of commissions come out of kind of a long relationship that we have with a writer, and that doesn't necessarily mean where they're at in terms of career or experience. We're usually just looking for a really compelling idea that we think responds urgently to the moment that we're all living in. Each commission and writer is different, so the process by which each commission is developed is different and is going to be different. So what a particular commission needs, there will have to be a bespoke process that's created around what that commission is trying to achieve. And if we do commission a play, we want this to be a commitment to producing that play, and we're looking at kind of a window of 18 months, kind of an 18-month turnaround from commissioning to production. Once we have a dramaturg in place in hopefully mid-June, they'll be overseeing the process of commissioning, and we'll work with individual writers on the development of work, on their development of their work through to production. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. So anyway, for anybody who wants to submit to us, I'm just going to kind of walk you through where we are on the website, because it might be just to kind of give everyone a sense of where we are. There is the floating arrow right above the pooch's head, and it is pointing to that kind of equality sign with an extra parallel line there. So you click on that, ba-ding, and you get our menu there. So scripts and ideas. Click on that, and this is our scripts and ideas page in Irish and English. So we want to hear from all of you. Please submit your work to us. It will detail kind of in general what it means to submit a script to us, as well as what it means to send an idea into us. And again, the type is very schmudgy there. So those are the questions that Jen was referencing earlier. We have our ideas at abbeytheatre.ie, which is the kind of the catch-all mailbox for all submissions. That's manned by myself and Patty Jo Malpas. So if you're talking to ideas at abbeytheatre.ie, you're talking to us, and it'd usually be us who will be in touch with you, and not kind of an automated voice that goes "thank you for holding" or something like that, even though it is email. So anyway, and then also there's Patty Jo's address there, Patricia Malpas at abbeytheatre.ie. I'm Jesse, Jesse.Weaver at abbeytheatre.ie if you want to get in touch.
So as we said, we will be appointing the sixth member of the team this summertime. And I suppose just to talk a little bit about other projects that we've been doing that you may or may not be aware of. One is called 5x5, and this has been an opportunity for us to invite and work with diverse groups that perhaps haven't had a chance to make work on national stages or feel like their voices haven't been heard. So we've had 5 groups work with us this year, 3 of which have completed their weeks with us. One is in the middle of it at the moment. So we've had women in from Moyross Community Drama in Limerick making a piece about domestic violence and looking at domestic violence within a variety of cultures. We've had a company that are primarily from Longford called Shadowbox Theatre, who are a group of women with intellectual disabilities who made a non-verbal piece of theatre around the Tune Babies. We have had women from Pavy Point making a piece on the primary health care that the traveller community have been working tirelessly on for the last 30 years. And this week we have an Irish language group from the west of Ireland making a piece about the possibility of Cromwell not being so successful and what Ireland would look like. Next week we have Dublin Community Choir in, and they're making a piece about diversity called The Elephant in the Room, and that's really addressing the fact that culturally we're probably a very, very white community. So that will be at 7:30 on the Friday of the June Bank Holiday weekend, so I encourage you all to buy a ticket for €3 and come along. And we are really delighted to announce as well that we have chosen our 5 young curators who will be programming 2 weeks of work in the Peacock Theatre next year. So these are people aged between the age of 18 and 25 who will be selecting work that they feel is relevant to them, says something about Ireland, says something about our society right now. So that's us. Please come and chat to us. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for the whole day, but Jessie is. And we're always available to meet and have a cup of coffee, meet you in the Peacock. Come and say hello to us anytime you're in the theatre. And thanks again to Fishamble for inviting us today. It's been really great.
Oh yeah, thanks Jessie. Thanks so much, Jen and Jessie, for that. Lots of interesting thoughts there and observations and ideas, which I'm sure we'll come back to later. So really interesting. It's interesting looking at the statistics actually for the gender breakdown of writers as well, because that's something we've been looking at in Fishamble, and it's, I suppose you do note that on a day like today, what we would expect is for it to be about equal or perhaps slightly more women attending than men, which seems to be the case. With our playwriting courses, there are always slightly more women than men. When we ask for submissions for ideas or for short works, like we did for a play for Ireland, everything's pretty much 50-50, as Jessie and Jen just said it is for the Abbey as well. And yet the unsolicited scripts then goes the other way. You know what I mean? It's much more like 1/3 from women and 2/3 from men, or even more like 3/4 from men and 1/4 from women. So that's something that seems to be the same across the board. So maybe we'll come back to some of those thoughts later on this afternoon as well.